Welcome, everybody, to the Save Point Podcast. I am Dan, as always. I am joined by Steve, actually at the beginning of the podcast this week.
It's incredible. I'm here. I'm here from the start.
He's here. Grace is not with us. She's actually getting ready to go to school, so because she is still in college. No, we will not give out what college she goes to. But no, she's getting ready to go to college, so she's packing up everything, and she'll be joining us from there. And Jesus was supposed to join us, and he's we don't know where he's at. It's kind of funny. Maybe he'll pop in later, maybe he won't, but we're kind of wondering where he's at.
We need to find Jesus. Jesus, where are you?
We need to find Jesus.
And I'm gonna tattle on Grace a little bit. According to Discord, it says playing World of Warcraft.
Yeah, but you know what? She has an orange sign next to her.
Yeah, she's away. It could just be that it's booted up or something in the background. But I think that's funny that she's like, I'm busy in school and all this. And I look, it says World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft playing. I know that is funny. Though, speaking of our Discord, you can join our Discord if you are interested. Just anywhere that you have downloaded this podcast, the link to our Discord is there. It is free. It is fun. There's a whole bunch of channels. If you would like to have any channels added for a specific game or specific topic, let us know. I have no problem adding that. In fact, some of the really, really good topics actually have come from just people suggesting that we put a channel in there. And we'll get to actually one of them, and it's actually something that I've been playing. But we'll let Steve. Steve, what have you been playing? Have you been able to play anything since Thursday?
Yes, I have. In fact, a new game came out. Not one of your AAA nonsense games, but a little indie game. I don't even know how indie it really is, but Graveyard Keeper. Have you heard of that?
I have. I had a buddy playing that. Like, it popped up on the Discord. Once again, Discord.
Mm-hmm, Discord.
Popped up that he was playing it. I didn't message him about it. And then I saw it on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched a little bit on Twitch, but I really haven't gone further than that. So why don't you tell me about it?
It is, it's Stardew Valley, but instead of having a farm, you have a graveyard. Like, that is the most basic way you could say, what it is. It's a farming simulator, just like Stardew Valley is, except, you've got this graveyard and you want to have a nice graveyard. But there's a twist to the whole thing. So I was watching on YouTube, there's this guy that goes through and does indie games. I watch him all the time. And I was like, oh, this looks like a really interesting game. And then I noticed that it's coming out in like a week or something. Like, okay, that's cool. So I had it on my radar, like, $20 or something. I think it's like $19.99. I was like, all right, maybe I'll pick that up. Then I flipped on my Xbox the other day and it was, Game Pass, new games, Graveyard Keeper. I was like, whoa, I already have it. Nice. And hit the download button, start playing. So the interesting bit about it, like the twist to it, is that the game starts in modern times. Like, the little cutscene is just a dude at a grocery store and he's like buying food and he goes to cross the street and like his cell phone rings and he looks at it and it's like his wife or a girlfriend or something. And then you hear like car honking, tires screeching, screen goes black. And then it comes back and now you're a little pixel dude and you're like, where am I? And like, there's this cloaked guy that's like, oh, hi, you're the new Graveyard Keeper. Like, with, all like happy and exclamation points, like, welcome to your new life. He's like, but what happened? Like, I have to get back home. He's like, no, come on, I'll show you what you need to do now. And so it's this weird, like you're in some kind of afterlife / limbo or something. And so your character's like this talking skull comes up and like teaches you things. You're like, what is this about? And a ghost pops up and is like, hey, the guy that's buried in the lower right corner is bumming us all out. Could you dig up his body and throw him in the river? And you're like, I guess. And so you have to do that. And it's like, what? So it's a very like twisted like Stardew Valley. Now, I played a little bit of Stardew Valley and I couldn't get into it. And I think that was because it was a little bit too open-ended. It was too much of do whatever you want, like within limitations and gameplay and all that. But it was kind of like, just kind of figure it out what you want to do and whatever you want to plant and go for it and this and that. And Graveyard Keeper is very much like, here's like your 2 bits of technology. And so then you learn those. It was great. Now these branch into 2 more and these go into like more and more. And so you have a very, this tech tree that's laid out before you that's very complex, but yet easy to understand. And there's 3 little resources. There's a red resource, a green resource, and a blue resource. And I think it's like physical, planting, and spiritual, something like that. Mm-hmm. So it's very clearly like, here's how you unlock all these resources. And it's like you chop down a tree and like some little green orbs pop up and then suck in. You're like, okay, just got some green XP. Nice. And then you mine some rock and it's like, all right, here's some red resource. Cool. And then pretty soon you're carving out, headstones and repair kits and chopping down trees and making, these metal parts, and you've got a forge and like all this stuff. And there's a talking donkey that every couple of days brings you a corpse and then leaves again. And then you have to deal with it. So it's like whatever you were working on, whatever you're upgrading or mining or cutting down, you stop and you go deal with the body, because the body has a percentage on it. As soon as it hits the ground, it's 100%. Couple seconds later, 99. So you're on the clock when the body's dropped off. And the reason why you want to hurry is because the quality of the body depends on how nice your graveyard is going to be later. So you take the body, you take it into the morgue, and you autopsy it. When you do that, you have these little skulls that show up, that some are white, some are red. Red represents the sins, and it's a bad body. And you can manipulate the body in certain ways. This is very grim and dark. You manipulate the body in certain ways to get rid of the sins in the body, or get rid of the bad stuff in the body. So like, if you drain its blood, then one of the red skulls disappears. And there's all these options. Some of them make the body worse. Some of them make the body better. It's up to you to kind of figure out how you want to manipulate this thing. It's kind of like eventually I'm guessing it's kind of be like ancient Egypt, right? Where they're like, oh, well, you got to take out these guts and you put this here and then you got to wrap it this way, prepare the body just right. But I don't have all the stuff unlocked yet. So I drain the blood and sometimes, and you can take out the skull, you can take out bones, you can take off the skin, you can take out the heart, the brain, like all these different, the intestines if you want to. And all of these things are just go into your inventory. So it's like, what are these going to be used for? And then if the body is too terrible, you can go down, you can chuck it in the river and you forget about it. Or you take it to the graveyard, you dig a hole, you chuck it in, you bury it, and then you get a burial certificate and you take that into town and you turn it in to the barkeeper and he gives you a little bit of money for it. And then the game just continues.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very strange, but the gameplay loop for it is very addicting. It's very much like 5 more minutes. I almost got it. And they got the thing too where you have the little energy bar that slowly ticks, as you do things during the day, it ticks down until you've got no energy left. You can't do anything. So you go to sleep and replenish it. There's a whole crafting deal with food and grow, there is a farm. So you do farm and you get food and you can cook things and then that'll replenish your energy and all that. You upgrade your weapons and armor and your axe and your pickaxe and your shovel and all that stuff. All those typical things that you would think about with the farming simulator are there. It's just that also you need to keep this graveyard nice. And then the one last little tweak, the one last little bit, once your graveyard is nice enough, a dude comes and goes, great. Now you're a priest and now here's a church next to the graveyard and now you have to do sermons once a week. See you later. And you're like, what is this about? And so sure enough, the doors of the church are unlocked. You walk in, there's a couple of pews, there's a pulpit there, and once a week.
We shouldn't make any kind of jokes about, never mind. I shouldn't say that.
What do you mean, Dan?
No, I'm not. No, I'm not implying anything.
Okay,
implying anything.
So this is really funny because you kind of get sucked into like this semi-medieval kind of world, fantasy world, and then when he says like, all right, well you need to do a sermon now because now you're the priest here, and so you go like, well, how do you do that? And it's like a little tutorial, and so you have a sermon in your inventory and then you take it and you click on the thing and you put it in the thing and then the sermon starts. And it starts and people come in and you just start talking. And the first one that you do, he goes, huh, and he puts his hands up, he goes, may the force be with you. And the priest dude who's next to him goes, yeah, we'll work on that. and then everyone just goes like, yeah, that was fine. And they all shuffle out of the church. So
it kind of reminds me of a book, that I'm reading / listening to. Cause I don't like reading. But I like books.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So I listen to them. And me driving to my real job, my real life job,
yes.
whatever, quote unquote, I'm doing this like people can see it. I drive over 60 miles just one way to my job. So
Whoa.
I have a long drive every morning, and afternoon. So, music gets old after a while. Sure. I mean, so, instead of jamming and singing out and, in my car and having people stare at me on the highway, which is always fun. I'll listen to books, and there's this one book called Off to Be the Wizard. I don't know if you've heard it.
No, I haven't.
So basically, in a nutshell, this guy stumbles upon this file that he finds on the internet, and he finds his name, and in that file of his name, he has like all his attributes. How tall he is, how much money he has in his bank account, anything like that. As he he starts changing things. So like he changes like his height, and suddenly he's taller. He changes his bank account, and the money goes into his bank account. Well, what happens is he creates a plan that if he ever got caught with this, because it's still, like it alerts the bank, like suddenly this guy has all this money in his account. Like, how did it get there?
Right.
Like, it just appeared.
It's still red flags still pop up.
Correct. Okay. So it's not like people are dumb to it. So he created this thing on his phone, like he like an app for his phone that if he ever got in trouble, he would hit it and it would warp him to a medieval time, or a certain time. And that ends up happening. I'm not really spoiling too much, but that ends up happening. And he goes and he thinks, oh, okay, he's going to be so cool because, he's got technology on his phone. He can pretend that he's a wizard. So he actually ends up going and he stumbles upon another guy. And that guy has done the same exact thing. He finds out that that guy has found the file and he's warped back too. And the reason that I'm saying this and why it reminds me of it is so he goes over and you're talking about how he's being a sermon. This one guy starts teaching the kid how to be a wizard, so that's why it's called Off to Be the Wizard. And one of the funny things is that he says you can either, for your weapon or for your magical item, whatever, you can either have a wand or a staff. Or they call it a rod. Okay. Sure. So the guy ends up picking a rod for his, and when he picks the rod, he says the one older wizard, he goes, okay, I have to tell you the first thing about having a rod as your magical item. He goes, well, what is it? He goes, never make the obvious joke. Like when it says go grab your rod. Yeah. So it's just like it's like just that teaching thing. It's like, oh, okay, we'll work on that. For some reason I just thought of that. I mean, it's a great book. It's meant to be like a comedy / fantasy type sort of thing, and it's really funny.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
They go around town and doing certain wizard things, and they just start making up stuff. I mean, it's a really good book. So it's Off to See the Wizard, or Off to Be the Wizard.
Off to Be the Wizard. That sounds really cool. Yeah.
Yep, I think there's actually 3 or 4 books in the series actually. So I'm in the middle of the first one, and I want to do the rest of them. But no, that sounds really cool. Like I said, I've kind of stumbled upon it. I've seen it. I just really haven't dove into it, considering the last time we recorded, which was last Thursday. Now it's Tuesday that we're recording.
Yeah, it's only been a couple days.
So it's only been a couple of days. So we got that, but that sounds really cool. I actually definitely take a look at that. So RimWorld and what is it?
Graveyard Keeper.
Graveyard Keeper.
Yeah.
Got it. So I've been playing nothing but Dead Cells.
Ooh, nice.
You want to talk about an addicting game. I have not played another game since. Actually, I take that back. I have played another game. I lied. I have played. I had a free $10 at a certain retail store. Sure. So I ended up that was about to expire. So I'm like, okay, I got to really buy something. I really don't know what I want to buy. And then I saw this, and I'm like, you know what? I had it on Xbox, but I never played it. I think I actually gave it to somebody or traded it in or whatever, was Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh, okay.
So I got that for PC. Looks absolutely gorgeous on PC.
Oh, I'm sure it does, yeah.
Now that I actually have a PC that can run it. So I played a little bit of that. I actually started as a rogue or an elf ranger, actually.
Okay.
So I really don't play a lot of ranger characters. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, I haven't really played a long fantasy game on the PC. So let's try a different character. I'm usually a mage or I'm usually a warrior. I never really kind of go in between.
Okay.
So I'm trying that build right now. So
if
having fun with that.
Remind me, Dragon Age, aren't elves like lower class citizens? Like everyone kind of treats them like crap? Is that true? Okay.
Yeah, they do. Yes, that's one of them. Yeah, and this is the one where you have the symbol on your hand and you have to close the rifts and all of that.
Okay.
Like supposedly people have put 100 to 150 hours into the game and they still haven't completed all the quests.
Oh, wow. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's a long game of what people are saying. So I've been playing that. But then, like I said, I think more though, that's probably about 15-20% of what I've been playing. And I've been playing just a shit ton of Dead Cells. It is, like you said, it is just so addicting. Like I would die and I'm like, okay, I just gotta play it again. I just gotta do this one run, you know?
Right. I was so close. I was so close that time. I can do it next time.
and the mechanics, they are just so, like, when you start to realize, like I said, like, the enemies don't change their attack patterns. So, like, a pink zombie is going to throw a bomb at you. A green zombie is going to leap at you. You know it, okay? So you start to learn these things. But I think the thing that keeps it fresh is that it's not the same platform. Like, every time you go in, it's procedurally generated, and the enemies are put in different areas. So you're just given just a new map every time to explore. And then you start to get like really confident. Like it's like, shit, I could do this. I don't have a problem. I can jump around these guys and dodge here. And I know what strike I'm going to do. And then like start, how to build myself. And then I would get to the fourth guy, which was the concierge, which was the first boss. And I couldn't beat him for the life of me. And I finally just beat him last night. Like I was so proud of myself finally. Now, if you remember, the premise of this game is that when you die, you begin all the way at the beginning again. You lose everything, you begin all the way at the beginning. Okay? I get into the next stage. I go through the whole thing, level up my guy, get the perks or whatever, go to the next stage, and I die within 3 minutes.
Oh, no.
So I have to go all the way back. But it's funny. I got back to the concierge, and I'm like, fuck it. I know how to beat this guy. And then, like, I got the confidence. And now it's like he's, like, no big deal. Right. Like, it took me, like, 4 or 5 days to actually try to beat him. And now I actually know how to beat him, so I know the strategy I have to take. So now I've beaten him 3 times.
Oh, good deal.
So I mean,
so is it one of those? Do you think if you were to quote cheat and go online and see like look at the bosses, look at their patterns, then like that would detract from the game because part of the fun is learning iteratively, through all your different runs, figuring out how to beat these guys. That's part of the fun of the game, right? Like.
I would say yes. I mean, the thing is, I asked, if you look on our Discord, I asked, guys, how do you beat this guy? So I mean, it's like, what's a strategy? And a lot of them just say, you gotta, roll and dodge and all of that. I think to go online and look at how to do something compared to, I think it can take on kind of 2 roles. One, if like a Zelda game, I'll take like a Zelda game. If you're going over and you're saying, okay, how do you do a puzzle? Remember, I don't know if you've played the Breath of the Wild or not.
I haven't. I've seen some videos and stuff, but I haven't played.
So you know that you have temples, and each temple is a puzzle.
Sure.
If you go on there and you look at how to do the puzzle, I think that kind of ruins the experience because then you're not trying to figure out the puzzle.
Sure.
But if you look at it and say, like in this type of game, it's like, okay, how do I beat this guy? Well, yeah, you got to dodge here and you got to dodge here and you got to jump when he does this attack. Try to do this. You still have to go in and do it.
Right.
Okay. So I don't think it necessarily takes away from it if you really want to look at it. As far as that goes in this type of game, but I can see where it would in other types of games.
Okay. Because sometimes when I'm in a game and I'm fighting an enemy or trying to solve something, and it's like, okay, do I just have to do what I'm doing now but better, or is there something that I'm missing? And that's the frustrating part when the game doesn't tell you, it doesn't have the proper feedback to be like, oh no, you're on the right track. Just keep going, or you get like nothing in return. And so when I'm always very careful when I go online, if it's a game that I'm enjoying, like, okay, how do I beat this thing? And then if it says like, the stuff you've been doing, just keep doing it. And it's like, okay, cool. But if it's like, okay, after this section, then you're supposed to do this instead. And it's like, okay, now stop reading. Now I know. Try that. And then after that, I don't want to know anymore. I just needed that, like, okay, I was missing something and the game wasn't telling me. And, good games are really good at communicating to you like, okay, try something different now, And that's
nice.
What
I feel Dead Cells did. When I looked, I won't lie, I looked at, I asked friends and, I had some people in Discord who are playing it. And they're like, yeah, no, you're doing the right thing. You just gotta get better at it. And it's like, okay, and like, it was weird. Like something just clicked. Like when he was started to like try to do an attack, I'm like, oh, okay, I know what attack he's going to do. So I know that I can roll. I think the other thing too that really kind of threw me is how many games when you touch an enemy, you're going to lose health. 85% of them?
Yeah, most of them, yeah.
In Dead Cells, you can run right through the enemies.
Okay. Do you like that?
You can run and you can, there's nothing to touch them.
Okay.
That's going to throw you backwards unless they're doing an attack on you.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was like, I'm starting to wrap my head again around that, that it's okay. You can run past an enemy, especially in a platformer. I think that's what throws it in a 3D, open world type sort of thing. I think that, it becomes more in tune that, okay, I can run past an enemy or I can jump over an enemy.
Or I can run behind them and that kind of stuff.
Correct.
The 3D-ness of the game gives you different types of strategy than the old school 2D stuff.
Correct. And in a 2D, I'm so used to that if you run up to an enemy and you hit the enemy and you touch the enemy, you're going to lose health. Mm-hmm. And that kind of threw me. Once I started to really kind of like, massage my body into realizing that, I can run through these enemies and then I can turn around and I can do that. It opened up a whole different type of strategy for me. And I've gotten a lot better, but Dead Cells, I cannot recommend Dead Cells it's on all the consoles.
Yeah.
So it's on every platform. So and it's $25. I mean, that's the thing.
That's not bad.
I would have gladly paid more. I would have gladly paid $30-$40 for this game and it's $25.
Wow.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's a good game.
I love games that have procedural generation as part of it because it's like it's always new, it's always different. Even though some gameplay stuff's always the same, that the level gets tweaked or it's changed every time. That's amazing. Board games too. Some board games that do that, I'm always attracted to as well because it's like if you have like Monopoly, it's always Monopoly, right? It's always the same number of spaces, this and that, and something like
Carcassonne.
What was that?
Carcassonne?
Yeah, Carcassonne. That's one. Betrayal at House on the Hill is another one where you put down the tiles that build the haunted house.
There's one called Bedpans and Broomsticks.
Bedpans?
Bedpans and Broomsticks. And literally what you are is you have one person that plays the doctor and the nurses, and then you have everybody else is an elderly person, and you're in a retirement home. And the reason that and what you're trying to do is you're trying to escape the second floor to the first floor and escape the retirement home without the nurses or doctors catching you.
That's awesome.
Now, the thought process is that you have these tiles that you have to lay down that that lay out the nursing home. But the problem is that because you're old and you can't remember, you don't know what it looks like past doorways.
Okay.
So once you get to a doorway, that's when you can lay another tile.
And
it's a random tile that you pick up.
That's a really cool concept. I like that.
Yeah, it's called Bedpans and Broomsticks. It's a lot of fun.
That sounds fun. So yeah, board games, video games, anything that's got some kind of procedural generation like that, where every time you play, it's a little bit different. That's always a plus in my book.
Nice. So we have a conference going on right now. It's in Germany. This one actually kind of created a lot of steam. I would say maybe 5-6 years ago. It was when it really started gaining a lot of steam for it. It's called Gamescom.
Yep.
It happens in Leipzig, Germany. I believe it's Leipzig.
I thought it was Cologne. Is that something else?
Cologne? I know that one year it was in Leipzig.
I'm a stupid American. I don't know geography for anything. Just Google it.
Let's see, location. Gamescom location. No, you're right. It is in Cologne this year.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, Cologne. Why did I think Leipzig? Where's Leipzig?
Maybe it was there another time, or that's another, I don't know, another con or something. I don't know.
Yep. This is not as big as E3, and if you would take like what I think is like the three main huge video game conventions that are out there, without throwing in the PAX East and West, and without kind of looking at that, you have E3, which I think is the biggest one in the world, and then you have Tokyo Game Show.
Yep.
And then I think you have Gamescom right behind it.
I'd agree with that.
Gamescom is starting to pull that up. I mean, you do have Paris Games Week and all that, but I don't think that it's as big. So a lot of like Microsoft has really kind of started really backing Gamescom. They've gone over. Usually Nintendo and Sony kind of pull back a little bit on that. I know Sony usually waits for Paris Games Week. Okay. And then also Tokyo Game Show that happens in October. And then in December, they usually have PlayStation Access, which is just obviously just PlayStation stuff. So they haven't really thrown a lot at Gamescom. I believe, though, that in 2015, 2015, when the PlayStation 4 was going to be released, okay. I believe that's when they unveiled the price and the release date.
Oh, at Gamescom.
At Gamescom.
Okay. That sounds right. I don't remember exactly, but that sounds right.
Yeah. So I think that's what that was going on. So I think that was been like the last really big announcement that Sony did at Gamescom, was that. But we do have a lot of information coming out of Gamescom. I'll start with Microsoft just because Microsoft has really kind of pushed on this.
Okay.
And like, I don't kind of understand, like, I will tell you what they have announced as far as hardware stuff goes and what they have. And then we'll kind of talk about, like, I kind of don't understand it.
Okay.
So they announced a whole bunch of Xbox One bundles and accessories. Huh. So, okay. So they announced the Shadow of the Tomb Raider bundle.
Okay.
Or bundles. So you can get a $300 1TB Xbox One S bundle or a $500 1TB Xbox One X bundle with Tomb Raider, the new Tomb Raider game. That comes out September 14th.
Okay.
Both bundles include a digital copy, 2 weeks of gold, and a month of Xbox Game Pass, which is more kind of standard now, really, any Xbox you buy.
Yeah, that's always in there. Yeah.
But it's $500. So is it kind of like what they're saying is that you're getting a free game because there's no design on the Xbox? It's either the white one or it's the gray Xbox One X.
It's a pack-in game. Yeah, that's all it is. I mean, consoles used to come with a couple of games. Like you buy the Nintendo, it comes with Super Mario, you know?
Well, not even that. I'm talking about like some like artwork on, on
I don't think it's not special like that, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, yeah, you're getting a digital copy, which is great. I mean, it's a $60 game, but
sure. It's just a regular old pack-in. That's nothing too fancy. I mean, maybe they haven't done that in a while with Xbox, unless it is like a big fancy, multicolored painted whatever Xbox or controller or something.
Well, see, I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So they have more.
Okay.
So they have another one, the 1TB Xbox One S bundle for $300, or the 1TB Xbox One X bundle for $500 for Forza Horizon 4.
Okay.
And you will also receive a digital download of Forza Motorsport 7.
Okay.
And 2 weeks of Xbox Live and Gold Pass. But once again, nothing really extra. It's all digital.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, that's a cool bundle, but you're really using a convention to show that. You have a Fallout 76 bundle, but once again, It's only an Xbox One X bundle for that one. It's no X or S.
Yeah, no S
bundle.
Sure.
500. It includes a digital download of 76. Okay.
Okay.
Now the last one is you can get a 300 once again bundle terabyte, 300 1 terabyte Xbox One S or 500 terabyte or $500 1 terabyte Xbox One X bundle. They really got to stop with these S's and X's.
It's
and all
ridiculous.
Of that.
It really is.
I'm just waiting for you know what I'm waiting for. Just marketing ploy is for them to come out with an Xbox One E, so you can have the SEX. You know,
you got to put them on the shelf just right, otherwise the kids will riot.
Going right with that jiggle physics that we talked about last week.
Oh yeah, jiggle physics.
Jiggle physics. We got to come up with a sound effect. But, so you have this now. It's Battlefield 5. Okay, so you can have that. Now there's one extra one, and it's the $500 special edition Gold Rush Xbox One X bundle.
Gold Rush.
Yeah, and if you look at it, it's like somebody half spray painted it with gold.
Oh, no.
Like
that sounds terrible.
If I can't, I'll screen share it to you, and people who are listening to this, you can look it up.
Yeah.
Let's see. You should be able to see it.
It is yes. My screen's kind of flashing at me. Hold on. Come on, screen.
On screen.
What's my screen doing? It just
but as you're doing that, you do get the Xbox One X, Battlefield 5 Deluxe Edition, which includes the special assignments and weekly items via airlift, as well as the paratrooper cosmetic items. Each bundle comes with 2 weeks of Xbox Gold, and then a month of Xbox. You want me to stop?
Yeah,
try again.
No. I can see it now. For some reason, that caused my main screen to flash at me. That was weird. But that digital thing, it looks, or digital thing, that Gold Rush Battlefield 5 Xbox One X bundle picture, it looks like a bad Photoshop. Like, who wants this?
Yeah, it really does.
But that being said, I've never been a fan of the artwork on a console. Because I've always taken my consoles and put them on a shelf and put stuff around them, make sure there's airflow, but then put stuff on and around them that it's never been a thing for me. Hey, look at my console, look at the paint on my console. It's just never been a thing that I've been a fan of. So I've never paid attention. I've never cared. And then all those game pack-in things, they're just trying to sell Xboxes. The cost of a game for them is nothing. What's $60 to Microsoft? They need to sell boxes. They need to sell these Xboxes, because then each sold Xbox should then equal, 5 to 20 games a year or whatever, and to try to lure people in with the one new hot game. Sure, that's a marketing thing.
The thing I don't understand though is the marketing ploy with it. Where am I getting a deal with an Xbox One X? So they're saying that the equivalent is the PlayStation 4 Pro.
Okay.
What without us getting into which one is better and all of that.
Teraflops.
Teraflops. Whatever. Fuck that. Whatever. But so you have both of them that play in 4K. You have whatever it is. One is powerful than the other. Fine. Okay. Now, PlayStation 4 Pro is $400, $399.
Okay.
Even if I wanted to go and get the deluxe, now you're talking let's take Fallout 76.
Mm-hmm.
Fallout 76, the base game is $60.
Yes.
So you're saving $60. Mm-hmm. So if you even take that out, that's still $440 that you're paying for Xbox One.
Yes.
Okay. Now, or I'm sorry, you're still paying $500 though for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if I go over and I take the deluxe edition, which is $80 for Fallout 76, and I buy a PlayStation 4 Pro, I'm at $480. I'm still saving $20.
Yeah, but
I'm getting more content.
Is it 4K HDR whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's like where is? I mean, that's still not a good marketing thing. Like where's the incentive to buy this? I'm still paying way too much money for a base game and a console.
Yeah, it's not smart.
Even if they came back and they said, we're going to sell this for $449 and you get the game. Right there. There's the incentive to buy an Xbox One X.
Right.
For fall.
They're not being competitive with it yet, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's production cost or what. Like the thing with the One X, the thing that they've touted for a long time now, and the thing that we haven't seen yet is its full capability. Like there's so much that it can do, but just nothing has done it yet. And
yeah, where's that killer game?
Yeah, they have failed to give us that killer game, that thing that sells the console. But they're still selling the console like it has that, but it doesn't yet. And that's kind of a bummer. What they have touted, which is kind of cool, is all of its backwards compatibility. But again, that's not going to bring in new people. That's going to keep fans with you.
Are you going to spend $500 for when you can go and buy a $300 system that does the same thing? With the S? I think what's killing them right now is that they released the Xbox One S. Honestly, it's killing them. I don't want to say killing them, but I think, put it this way too, because everybody's saying it's getting to the end of the life cycle and all of that, and the PlayStation 5 could be revealed within the next year to year and a half, and supposedly Xbox was working on what's called Scarlet.
Oh.
So if they go over and they're going to release another console in 2 years, well, then what was the whole hype about the Xbox One X? I mean, it's really like, why didn't you just take that and say, screw this generation. We got the S, stick with the S, let them have their 4K, all of that, or even downscale the X a little bit, make it competitive, and then take the most powerful gaming system, because that's what they're going to tote the next game system. If you're going to say that this is the most powerful game system, and then they're going to come out with Scarlet, and they're like, well, here's another one, but it's not the most powerful one, well, then you're not going to sell this one either.
Like, it's not the most powerful one, but it's the most affordable one. The way that the marketing worked, and what we forget because we're so entrenched in, gaming culture, is that the One S is the base model. Like, that's the one for Joe Casual player. And the X is supposed to be top tier, top of the line, like you're a fancy gamer. So it's not for everyone to buy. It's just for like the Uber fans, if you want to say. But they haven't sold that way. So now they're trying to entice, like, hey, pack in games, come buy it. But they're offering it with both. And so here's affordable for casual, then here's super fancy. And, the whole like 4K HDR, all that stuff, that's great. If you're the type of person that has the big fancy TV and you want to go on the internet and look up what HDR means and like how that, applies to your gaming and your Blu-rays and your ultra Blu-rays or whatever they're called, then buying a One X isn't a big deal for you. Like, because you've already invested thousands into your gaming system anyway.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what Microsoft is doing. They need games. We've said that before, and yeah, they need games.
Yeah, I think if they had a catalog of games, it would be a completely different story with this. But it's like they're just it just seems like they're just trying to scrape to say, hey, we still got this big, really nice, this huge, fast 6 teraflop console, and we need you to buy it. Please buy it. We really want you to buy it. Oh wait, here we're going to throw in a free game. Now buy it. And I don't want to say that Sony is better. They're just doing a better job of marketing their console this generation. Yeah,
they're killing it. They've got the games, they've got the numbers,
So I think we've kind of covered that. It's just their pricing is just completely off. I mean, there's no attractiveness to pay $500 for a console with really the same games you can get for $100 cheaper console.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not being competitive. They're banking on brand loyalty, I think, which is how they got me in there. But if you're new to gaming and you show up on the scene and go, "Hey, I've got a bag full of money. What should I get?" and you just start like price comparison, like it's a no-brainer. You get a PS whatever. And then if you have kids, you also, or if you're a child, then you get the Nintendo thing. And then like, why would you get the Xbox? It doesn't make any sense right now. It really doesn't.
Yeah, right now it doesn't. And then the last thing that they unveiled was the player on a couple of controllers. It's a Player Unknown Limited Edition controller. So PUBG, they're really pushing PUBG over Fortnite.
Yeah.
Obviously because it came to them. And then the Design Lab have two new they have a camo and then they have a shadow color that added to the Design Labs, which are $70 controllers. Once again, I'm not huge on a controller. Like, I won't lie though, like the Spider-Man PlayStation 4 Pro, I was really tempted just because it's red. One of my favorite colors is red.
There you go.
It looks very pretty.
Yeah.
But I still ended up not getting it. I really, there's just no reason to.
Yeah. I really appreciate that they have their whole Design Lab thing for the controllers, that if you wanted to, you could go in there and spend the extra cash and make a totally custom looking controller. I like that, but I'm not going to do it because I've got the one that the console came with and I bought one more that was just black and that's enough for me. So.
Yep. So a couple of other things that are out there. Still speaking of Nintendo, of Microsoft, and I don't think that this game is a multi-platform, though it could be. I haven't seen anything, so correct me if I'm wrong. It's the new From Software game. It's the Sekiro Shadows Die Twice game. It's you're like a prosthetic ninja.
Prosthetic ninja.
Yeah, like you have prosthetic.
Okay.
Like limbs.
All right. Neat.
Yeah, neat. Shadows Die Twice. Let me just look it up really fast. This is actually no, it's a multi-platform, so it's not even a Microsoft. I know it was shown at Microsoft's E3, but Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. They announced the release date for that. That's March 22nd, 2019. You're a ninja. It's a From Software game, so From Software did the Dark Souls. So they're saying that it's a little bit more action-packed than Dark Souls, but
okay.
Still, you do have a prosthetic arm, or an arm that looks like it's a skeleton.
Okay, sure.
So there's a 14-minute clip of that, or a 14-minute trailer that was revealed. Devil May Cry 5 got a release date. It's a new trailer. It's a 15-minute trailer. It's really cool.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
It was powered on the Xbox One X, so which is pretty cool. That is coming out March 8th of 2019, which is pretty cool. They just announced it at E3 of 2000 or this year 2018.
Yeah.
E3, and in a couple of months it's coming out. I think that's pretty cool that they have that. The one thing going back to the other game that I didn't mention, it's going to have some stiff competition though, because the 22nd of March is also when the Division 2 comes out.
Oh, okay.
So,
very different types of games, though. So maybe different audiences. Maybe that's why they're not too concerned about it.
Yep. Life is Strange 2 gets a first official trailer, so that came out, so you can test that out or check that out. Blizzard teases a new Overwatch content, but they really didn't reveal anything yet. For Honor gets 2 new gameplay videos. They have that big, huge update that's coming to For Honor, which the new fighters that are coming through that they talked about at E3. I'm not really interested in For Honor. I've tried playing it. I ended up playing it again on the PC just to try because it was free, and it's still just as frustrating as fuck.
Okay.
Pardon the language. It just really is. It's just so frustrating.
It looks like a very specific type of game. It was available through the Xbox Game Pass, I think. I believe I downloaded it, and then I wanted to play something else before I got a chance to play that, and then I ended up deleting it. So I will try it again one day, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Let's see. Master Chief, the collection is coming, or Halo, the Master Chief collection, is coming to Game Pass.
Okay.
I'm not sure when though. I don't see a release date of when that is actually coming. Do I see it? It will be added on September 1st.
Oh, neat. I'll finally get to play Halos. I played the original Halo on my original Xbox, not to completion, but I played it a bit, and then I think I played a little bit of Halo 2, and then that was it. So
that could be fun to do some co-op with if you wanted to.
Yeah, go back and dive back
I
into
enjoyed
it.
Halos. Obviously, a lot of people have enjoyed Halo.
Yeah.
We're not going to get into that whole mess. I think. As far as that goes, let's see what else. A couple other things. NVIDIA revealed their new RTX series of GPUs. So if you're into that, you can check out the specs. We're not really a hardware podcast, so if you want to check that out, you can check that out. There's a whole huge conference that you can check out online.
I mean, all that really means is they're going to be sold out because the cryptocurrency people are going to buy them all, right? That's what that means.
Probably. The Hunt Showdown, or the Hunt Showdown, I've never even heard of this game, is coming to Xbox One. It's a horror shooter. Shenmue 3 finally has a release date, which has been, it has been in development since 2000 and was it 15 or 16 when they announced Shenmue 3 and the remake of Final Fantasy 7. PlayStation did.
Oh yeah, it's been a while.
Yep, but Shenmue 3 actually gets a release date, and that's going to be August 27th of 2019.
Oh.
So that's like a year from now.
A short year away.
Yeah, a short year away. Another year.
I mean, it's better than nothing.
Get I guess. That. I mean, I would love to complete the story. I want to see. I've played both of them.
Okay, cool.
So we got that. Saints Row 3 is headed to the Switch, which is really interesting with how like, mature that game is and how Nintendo usually stayed away from mature games. I find it interesting that is actually getting ported over, but It's cool. I mean, it'd be cool to play. I haven't played the third one. I just know that the Saints Row is like GTA, but a lot cruder and
sillier and stuff. One of them was on the Xbox through the Game Pass, and I downloaded it and played it for maybe an hour and a half and went, okay, I'm done. And then that was it. So nothing. Yep. I aged out of it, I think. And gameplay wise, it was nothing special. So, it's fine. Whatever.
Let's see. Sea of Thieves Forsaken Shore gets a release date.
Neat.
So the DLC for Forsaken Shores for Sea of Thieves is going to be September 19th.
Okay. All right.
As we're getting to that.
Not bad.
Trying to, there's a whole bunch of stuff I'm trying to just kind of go through. Diablo 3 was mentioned, and that wasn't at Gamescom. That was a little bit earlier in the week, but that was going to be trying to wait until Gamescom. But no, Diablo 3 is making its way to the Switch.
Okay. Again, another like mature style game.
Dying Light, we have another Battle Royale inspired mode for another game, and that is Dying Light.
Can you hear how excited I am?
Yeah, that's about all we really need to go into that. But yeah, no, it's a PvP Battle Royale style coming to Techland Zombie Survival, which is Dying Light. Cool. Which Dying Light, I think, is just good on its own. So that's a lot of that. That's kind of going on with that. Cool. I mean, though, go ahead.
I was going to say it sounded like a kind of a mediocre conference. There was nothing too like, wow, look at this new thing that was announced. It was like, oh, here's some stuff that people knew were in the works, and here's some dates, and just kind of casually dropping little announcements here and there. But it didn't seem like. Well, I mean, was there a killer thing? I mean, earlier in the week I saw something about Cyberpunk 2077 something, and then I haven't heard anything.
Well, that's going to be the next thing.
Is that the next thing? Oh.
That is the next thing that we're getting into.
Okay.
I want to talk about, we talked about hype, and we talked about how Spider-Man was being hyped, and and I think that was pretty positive last week of the hype. I think what Cyberpunk 2077 is doing right now I got really pissed off today.
Okay.
So there was a tweet that came out by CD Projekt Red, and they came out and they said that there's going to be new information about 2077, however they put it, whatever. Now, so there's another outlet, there's a very famous outlet of video game-esque news, which we won't say.
Okay.
That was covering this, and they had one of the guys on from CD Projekt Red, and it's like, here at 10:15, it was 10:15 Eastern time, so it was 9:15 my time, Central time, so it would have been like 7:15 your time, AM this morning, whatever it was.
Okay.
Okay. And it was like, okay, cool, let's watch this. And it's like 12 minutes. It's like a 12 and a half minute thing. And they start talking about Cyberpunk 2077, and they start just rehashing the same things. It's open world, it's first person shooter. They start showing off like concept art. Like new screenshots from 2077 are here. So it's concept art that has kind of made it into the game.
Okay.
Which I'm thinking, okay, it's cool. Whatever. And I'm thinking, okay. Now, let's look. Now they say, we're going to start talking about the trailer from E3 that was shown behind closed doors.
Okay.
Okay?
Exciting.
Now I'm thinking, okay, we're going to finally see this trailer. They cut it down. It was like an hour long. They're going to cut it down. We're going to see some form of gameplay. We're going to see something. We got to be able to see something.
Yeah.
And they said this was literally the quote from whoever I can't remember the gentleman's name from CD Projekt Red that was up there. He goes, "Yeah, we tweaked it a little bit, but we're still showing it behind closed doors here." So, like the guy that was doing the interview goes over and says, "So when does the public get to see this?" And he goes, "Oh, I really can't tell you."
Oh.
It's like, that's not information.
No.
That's not information. That is a tease. And that is a shitty tease.
Yeah, it sucks.
That is don't hype up that you're talking about a game and then give us the same exact information and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, we can't give you anything."
Yeah, that's
and it kind of contradicts a little bit what we said last week about Spider-Man and them not really revealing a lot. But the thing is, if you go on there was always some form of gameplay. Mm-hmm. Even if it was just him swinging around, there was some form of gameplay. There was something that they showed. They kind of went around and did something.
Yeah.
Okay? This, it's just like, yeah, here, we got this one trailer from E3, and now we're just kind of keep talking. Oh, yeah, by the way, but we're going to keep showing people behind closed doors. Well, I don't give a shit. I don't give a flying shit about it. Unless you're going to show me, don't talk to me about it.
Yeah,
because that's like
somebody else is getting the good stuff, but you're not. Yeah, yeah, that's not fun. What I would expect to see from them. I mean, maybe they want to keep, certain things about the game very secret because maybe they're still working on it, that kind of stuff. But you got to think at this point, from the trailer that we have seen, large chunks of this world are complete. There's a city there.
They've been working on the damn game for over 10 years. There better be something fucking complete again.
So I'm thinking, like, remember when Assassin's Creed Syndicate, when they were hyping that, and they kept showing scenes of London, like, in fast forward, and you could see, like, the carts and all this stuff. That had nothing to do with the gameplay itself. It was just check out our world. And I'm really hoping, or I would have hoped that CG Projekt Red, in hyping their 2077, they could show things like that. You don't want to give away quests? Cool. You don't want to give away specific characters? That's fine. You're still working on tweaking things? That's great. Give us like a fly through of the city, or like show us a block, or show us, an alleyway, just little, like 5 seconds here, 2 seconds there with the really slow zoom in. Like, give us something.
And the concept art thing would work. Like, they showed like 7 or 8 pictures, which is cool. Awesome. I would have been happy with 2. Now, follow me on it. I would have been happy with 2 if they showed, like, okay, this is the bar area. This is like a gathering area of people, like a market square or something.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the concept art. And now this is what it looks like in the game.
Yeah. Do that like twice and be happy. Yeah.
And I'd be happy because then now I'm tasting that. I'm getting that little bit of a, it's like, here, taste the sauce. And you know, like when your wife says, here, I'm making this, taste the sauce. And, and the sauce tastes really, really good. But yet it still has another 20 minutes or it might have another hour to simmer and you can't have any more.
Right.
Like it makes your appetite want it.
Even when it's done, you got to wait. You got to set the table. You got to, get the rest of the food prepped, and then you get to enjoy it. Right. But instead they say, we cook the sauce. It's in the back. The other chefs are tasting it. They say it's good. Like, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah, wonderful. I care less.
Yeah, great.
And the thing that the thing that scares me about that, and I'm not saying, believe me, the last thing that I'm saying is that this is true, is that they saying, okay, the chefs are tasting in the back, and now finally you're sitting down and you get really nothing. Now you're sitting down and they hear and they give it to you and they plop it down or whatever, and you take the first big bite out of it and you're like, oh my God, this sucks.
This tastes awful. Yeah.
Like I said, it just kind of goes into what we were talking about last week. I think there's a very smart way. I don't want to say it's a good or bad way of marketing things. I would say there's just a very smart way, and then there's a very is inept a good word?
Yeah, inept. That's good.
Way of being able to market things. Yes, we want your game, but once again, I'd rather have you say nothing about a game than to show something as just what felt like filler.
Right. Yeah, and we're living in a information age, and people know that they've been working on this game forever, and I'm sure they're constantly getting just a barrage of like, give us some information, tell us anything. And so they gave us a little bit and they try to say, that's it. That's all you get. But we're just grasping for more. We want a full hype machine to come steaming down the road, shoving things down our throats, and they're not doing it. And I mean, the fact that they showed a little bit and then pulled back, like, it's kind of like what you showed us was amazing. It looked so good. Like, it looks so complete. Like all of the stuff they showed from the trailer from E3 was in-game stuff. It wasn't pre-rendered. At least that's what they said. Why would they lie? I don't know, but that's what they say. And so, like, it looks like it's done, even though it may not be. Or on the other hand, like, the other way to do it, Bethesda, Elder Scrolls 6, where they're like, here's a vista, here's a title. Sorry guys, it's coming. You're not going to hear about this for a long time. See ya. Wipe hands. Like, yes, we are working on it. Yes, here is a picture. You're not going to get anything else. Like, they didn't come to Gamescom, show that same thing again, like, and like hype up, hey, new info about Elder Scrolls 6, and then show that same thing and go, we're still not going to show you anything else. Like, that's a poke in the eye, is what that is.
Exactly.
So it seems like maybe CD Projekt Red is inept. I think inept is a good word. I don't think they're doing it on purpose. I don't think that they have some grand marketing plan that they're following and it's failing. I don't think that's true at all. I think they are simply deep into this game. They don't know if it's good or not, because like the interviews from the people are like, we don't know if it's good. And it's like, the fans think it looks amazing. Like, yeah, but we don't know if it's good or not. And that's fine.
And that's the other thing too, is, I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but
no, it's fine.
The people that have seen it from behind closed doors, they're like, this is amazing. This looks outstanding. We can't tell you anything that happens in it. We can't tell you what missions we did. We can't tell you what the currency looks like. We can't tell you what the person was wearing. And we can't tell you what the city looks like. But you know what? It looks fucking good. It's like, okay, take that hour and make a minute and a half gameplay trailer.
Yeah.
Of jumping over a building or getting into a car or shooting somebody's head off or just they said that it's laced with profanity. So it's like, or just have 30 seconds of profanity of a guy walking around. But it's like, don't just come out and say, oh, here's some concept art.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, we've been looking at concept art of that bullet going past the woman's shoulder for over 10 years now. It's like,
yeah. And I think that really inept is a good word for it, because I don't think they have a plan for their marketing. No. I don't think they're ready for it. I don't think this game is going to come out for 2 more years. And so like they're showing because they're like getting excited about it and people are begging for it, but they're not ready. Like, we're not going to see a big marketing push for this. Like, they're just giving out little bits just because they kind of think it's fun, or like, for the fans or whatever. But this isn't like a true marketing push. This is them being inept about it.
As my third title. That's going to be on next gen.
Yeah.
They're saying that it's going to be. I think it's going to be a shared gen title.
Really? Okay.
But I think they're going to make a more polished version for next gen. So my 3 games right now for next gen I'm calling are Death Stranding.
Okay.
Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
And Cyberpunk 77.
Nice.
Or 2077.
That sounds right. I don't see anything wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
And at 4th, Minecraft. So.
4th Minecraft. Yeah, Minecraft. And to talk about what I feel is a very good marketing, another really good marketing for a game is Fallout 76. They had a little bit of a presentation. And they've talked about a couple of things. They talked about a little bit of the PvP, which in a nutshell, I don't know if you heard this, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, and then I'll let you get into the perk card system. But sure. The PvP is somewhat going to work like you can shoot at me, okay, and you can kill me, okay. If you keep shooting me, you can kill me. Okay, that's not going to be a thing. You're not going to be invincible.
Right.
Now, if I don't retaliate against you, okay, like shoot back at you, okay, supposedly what happens is I can die, you can loot my stuff or whatever, and I will go and respawn somewhere else.
Yes.
Okay. Now, supposedly if I didn't retaliate against you, you get a bounty on your head.
I'd be labeled a murderer.
Yes.
Yes.
And everybody what will happen is on the map, there'll be a red star of your placement of where you're at.
Yep.
And supposedly if you're in the vicinity of people, or if you are with friends or whatever, you can see where other people are at on the map. Supposedly if you decide to kill somebody, you can't see that at all.
You can't see the other people, and everyone can see where you are.
Everybody can see where you are, but you're not going to be able to see anybody on the map. Like, you can come across them, and you can see them if you pass by them
in the
game screen.
Sure.
But not on the map. And then as you either kill or as you keep surviving, your bounty keeps growing more and more and more and more.
And it's coming out of your own pocket, too.
Yeah, it's coming out of your pocket.
Yeah.
So for you to basically keep shooting somebody or act like an asshole in the game, it's going to basically punish you for basically spawn killing on people.
I don't know if I'd call it punishment. I would say that you are choosing to what was the word? You're choosing to be part of certain content, right? Like,
okay, yeah, you're right.
Like, if you want to murder somebody, and it's great that they're using the term murder and not like kill, like, cause people kill things all the time in games on accident. You kill enemies, you kill each other, whatever. But if you're going to go after a specific person, that is murder. And they're saying that's fine. You can do that in the game. There are going to be consequences, and we're turning that into gameplay. Cause now other people, like, you've got a bounty, other people can hunt you down, you can try to get your bounty as high as possible. There's like all these things that it turned it into content. And I think that's what Todd Howard said is, that they're turning the assholes into content. Yeah. And so, like, if you go into Fallout 76 and you want to role play, a raider, which is totally possible, you want to be a murderer. You want to do that content. So you want to go around and, kill noobs or, whatever. But then you have to be able to hold up the other end of the deal. If you're a raider, everyone's going to come after you because they know you've got loot. They know you've got money,
Yep.
And so that's cool. The other thing is, they're talking about when you shoot somebody, when you shoot another player, the damage is reduced because you're like asking them to be part of the content, right? You're saying, hey, would you like to have a gun battle? And so the first couple shots are just like a little, he was just like a slap kind of, you pulled out your glove and you slapped him. So that's duel, it's the little slaps. Mm-hmm. If you turn around and start firing back, suddenly your damage levels go up to 100% and now you're having a gun battle. And so now it's not a murder. Now you're fighting somebody else. And that's different. That's different content. If you want to, go and have gun battles and all that, that's fine. Other thing is if you accidentally shoot a friend or something, you don't want it to be 100% damage because that's not fun, right?
Correct.
So yeah, a lot of cool little content bits. How they're dealing with PvP is, smart. They've thought about this. Mm-hmm. This isn't let's cram a bunch of people into a world and give them tools and see what happens. This is, okay, we know the internet, we know people, we know what they're going to try to do. How do we not stop that? How do we make that interesting? Because if you just put the kibosh on all that, if you just say not allowed, people won't want to play. And it's a total valid thing to go into the world of Fallout and want to kill people. That's part of what the game is. And so they made it interesting. They're trying to make it interesting. And so if you want to role play a murderer, role-play a murderer.
Go right ahead, you can.
If you want to go stealth and knives, and you want to role-play a serial killer, please do it. I want to come across you in the world and attempt to kill you. And then after I'm frustrated, then you can hit the button that says change server, and then I would never see you again.
Yep. Well, speaking of that, servers, they're saying at the beginning there will be private servers. So you can create your own server and just invite the people that you want if you wanted to. So I think that's an awesome little tidbit that they're adding into it. So, to learn the game and to get people I have a friend that's going to get this game. He's actually taken off, he's requesting off from work so he can play the game.
That's awesome.
But I know one thing that he can't stand. He's not an online guy. He's just not, he'll do a co-op, but as long as it's you and him, right. Co-op. He can't stand just for that reason, just random people trying to kill you and just mess with your game. Mm-hmm. So he was really kind of turned off. And then we were talking about it and I said, well, they're going to have private servers and all that. And now he's hyped about it because he's like, now I don't have to deal with that crap if I don't want to. If I feel like killing somebody, I'm going to go after me and I'm going to kill me. You know what I'm saying? Where it could be fun.
And hopefully Bethesda knows this kind of stuff. And they're saying, we want to get those people who have always been solo players. I mean, cause they're dealing with a fan base that have only ever played this game solo, right? Yep. And so they have to find a way to entice those people into this multiplayer world. And I think it's smart that they're saying, look, we know, we get it. There are jerks out there. There are people in multiplayer games that nobody wants to play with. And so we're going to make that into content. We're going to give you tools to deal with it. We're going to keep, the server numbers down still. I mean, we don't have an official number, but they had said before 24 to 36 people on this gigantic map. They want it to be I'm excited to go into an unknown world with other people, even if they are jerks, because it's Fallout and because they're giving you tools to deal with it. It's not just, people kept giving this Rust analogy, and Rust is awful. Rust is an awful game and it has nothing to do with the gameplay. Have you played Rust?
I've seen people play it and I've been turned off.
Yeah. Rust is, it was, I followed it early in development. I'm like, this is cool. You just spawn naked in this world. I'm way into naked gaming for some reason. You spawn naked into this world and you got a rock and
jiggle
physics everywhere. I love jiggle physics. You have a rock and you smash things and you've got wood and then you build a house and enemies and then other players and you can play with them or you can play against them. In concept, it's great. And then I started playing it and I got in there and it was fine. And then I waited a while, okay, the game's still under development. I'll come back to it later. Waited 6 months, came back, logged in and was like, why are there swastikas everywhere? Like, what is this? And then you look into like the meta of the game, you look at the community, and it's just this toxic mess. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to play in that. The people that are there feeding off each other, that's for them. But that's not something that is welcoming to an outside community. That game, like I played it for a little while, found a couple people to play with, and even with playing with people, it was toxic. It was just not good. So I stopped playing. So I'm really hoping that the Bethesda have looked at other online big open world games with people and building and all that stuff, and they see what works and what doesn't, and they're tweaking things accordingly.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just think that the way that they're going about, especially they're putting a great spokesman in front. Even Todd Howard knows how to work a crowd.
Yes,
he really knows. When was the last time you really saw him really talk about a game in depth to crowds and not in interviews like what he's doing with Fallout 76? Because he's got that respect of the community. Mm-hmm. I think that's the other thing too, is that you talked about the solo people, you talked about the people who have been with the Bethesda and who look at Bethesda as mostly a single player role playing game company. So what better way than to have the guy that they've trusted for years come out and talk about it?
Yeah.
And the thing is that he is not being dumb to it. It's some of these some of these developers come out and they say, well, you were going to work cooperatively in this game, and you have to work cooperatively, and everybody's going to create this whole team and everything. And it's like, that 90% of people are not going to do that. Yeah. You're going to get that one person that's in there and just is going to be like, he's going to be the Leroy Jenkins. It's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, like if they came out and said Fallout 76, you're going to log on with 3 other friends and compete and do co-op missions. Nope, wrong.
No, wrong.
But it's like, you can play this entire game solo if you want. If you want to play with your friends, you totally can. Here's content for you. If you want to do what you want to do, you can. You can be private. You can be with people. And, so they know their audience, and they're very carefully and very methodically easing the solo crowd into the multiplayer. They're saying, it's okay. Come on. We know. We know. Come on. It'll be okay. We've thought about this. Please try it with us. And if you try it and you don't like it, that's totally cool. You can still play the game. And that's awesome. That's really cool.
And I think, so there's 2 other things, and I'll talk about one and then I'll let you turn it over to you for the other thing. Supposedly the beta is actually going to be the full game. There's going to be no closed off areas, which I think is really cool because Bethesda is very good with adding content, allowing people to create content and all of that. So I'm not talking about mods yet, but what I think what's going to happen with this beta is that your status is going to carry over.
I think they said that. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think what's going to happen is that they're probably just going to limit the amount of things that you can do in it. But what they're saying is that the whole map is open.
There might be like a level cap or something just so you don't go crazy. But
probably.
I don't know. Yeah.
There's going to be parameters in it. Mm-hmm. But basically there's not necessarily going to be anything in the game, in the beta, that you're not going to be able to do in the game.
Right.
Unless they add things, later on.
Sure.
So I really kind of like that concept that, this is going to be the taste of it. And I think it's more of obviously they're going to test the power of their servers so they don't crash. Because that's the biggest thing that they're worried about.
Oh, for sure.
Is servers. And that's why you have the beta. I think the other thing, too, that they're looking at is we're not going to play this the smoke behind the mirror, smoke and mirrors game. This is what we're going to give you.
Yeah.
We want you to play the game. This is what it's going to take to run it.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to mess with your heads anymore. This is the game.
This is it.
And I really like it.
YouTubers,
really
streamers make videos and show everyone what it's all about. Go.
Basically.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that they talked about too, and I think this was really, really cool, is the perk system, the special system. And I'll let you kind of take over on that.
Yeah, so the perks, they've decided to do perk cards, And so when you level up, you get this little digital pack of cards, and you open it up, and I think there's 5 perks in there. And
something like that.
And I think it's 3 that you can use right away, 1 that's really beneficial, and then 1 that you can use a couple levels from now to kind of give you a direction. Mm-hmm. And I think you get 1 every level up to level either 5 or 10, and then after that, it's every other level. And they can stack, and you can take 2 cards and put them together and make a new card and stuff like that. And then the special system, it used to always be from 0 to 10 or 1 to 10. No, I think, could you go down to 0? I think in the old games you could go down to 0, but
yeah, you can.
In 4, I think it's 1 to 10.
Yeah, 1 to 10 in 4, but you can go down to 0 in the other ones.
Okay. So now it's 1 to 15. So they're giving you more room to tweak your characters. And then the perk cards, have certain, they're attached to one of your, attributes. And, depending on what the attribute is, and then it gives you buffs and stuff, and you can have a specific loadout. So if you wanted to be a sniper character, then you play the perk card that lets you, have, more damage over distance or whatever. Or maybe you'll have a perk card that'll give you, better stealth or something.
And supposedly these packs that you do get are randomized.
Yes. Randomized packs. And you can, there's some kind of trading that you can do as well. And I think it's tied into your charisma. If like the charisma perks allow your perks to be shared, because how do you in an RPG that's not dealing with NPCs but with other people, your charisma is you as a person. Like how do you interact with the world? In a single player game, your charisma is whatever the stat is, and then that's how your character is perceived in the world. So how do you take charisma and bring that into a an MMO essentially? And so what they've decided, I think, is that the charisma allows you to share things in the world. It gives you the ability to, have stats move around, or not stats, but,
it stops people from being able to be power leveled, basically. Like I can't have a perk card that has a 5 or a 6 on it, and give you it, and you think that it's just going to work in your special, and now suddenly you have that card. Like you have to be leveled to each other. So like if it has a 5, you have to at least have a 5 in charisma to use that card. I can't just give you that card and say now you have a 5 in charisma.
Is trading the cards, is that a thing that they've said? Because I thought it was just like sharing of the perks, like plus 5 defense or something. And if your charisma is at a certain level, then your other people in your group of up to 4 also have that perk. I don't know.
I would have to go back and double check it.
I don't remember.
It's still a little confusing, but I kind of get the concept of what they're trying to do.
Okay.
And I just think the charisma one is always going to kind of be that questioned one. I mean, because strength is strength, and whatever.
Melee and carry weight, and agility is how fast you can move, and action points, like all that's health, all that stuff makes sense. But charisma is kind of a wild card. Luck can be a wild card too when you're not talking about like critical hits. Like I can see, luck tying directly into critical hits makes sense. But the other thing with luck was always like finding stuff. Like when you would loot something, instead of finding 5 caps, you'd find 20 caps because you have a high luck, skill or something like that. And in previous games, luck would also just give you like these random events and stuff that would happen in the world. Which is doesn't really work in a big map with other people. Cause like, one of the things in, was it Fallout? It might have been Fallout 3 or maybe it was New Vegas, but there was one event that it was a random event, and it was a UFO would fly over and like explode and crash off in the distance. And it's not a place you could go to, but where it exploded, it dropped a rifle and ammunition, like the alien rifle or something would like fall. And so you would have to like be paying attention, notice what was going on, and then like go and find it in the geometry of the world. So like things like that in a big open world don't really work, because they could work, but it might not be for your benefit. Like if you have a high luck stat because you hope something like that will happen, and it does, and the thing drops, and then somebody else runs along and finds it and picks it up, that's not fun. So I don't know how that's going to work. And maybe I don't know. There's still so many unknowns. but they keep giving out little bits of info and those cool little cartoons and stuff. So it's fun.
Just how Fallout can do it. I'm still looking forward to the game.
Yeah.
It's just such an interesting concept for a Fallout game.
Mm-hmm.
And I just like Fallout. I like playing that type of thing. So
yeah, I want to be in that world.
I'm looking at this as being kind of like the game where it's like, okay, I get home, I really, really don't know what I want to play, so I'm just going to go pop into the world and see who's in the Fallout.
Who's there, what's going on, yeah. And they've talked about their development road and like how they have big DLCs planned and like smaller updates planned, and there's a whole roadmap and everything, and I'm excited to see if they're going to monetize any of it. Like I could very easily see them, and they haven't done it, but like to monetize the perk packs, to be like, hey, give us $5. Here's a perk pack, open it up, see what you got.
So then you're looking at microtransaction, and then
right. That's
play to win.
That's yucky, right? Nobody wants that. But like you could see that they could have gone that route and they chose not to, which is really nice. But they've said they've got all this content that's going to come that's going to be free. So like where's the trade-off? Like I want to give them more money for content because they're a good game company and they make good content. I've bought every single DLC they've ever put out because it's good. And so like, in terms of Fallout, not, Oblivion, I never bought the horse armor, which is, it's funny. Remember how much people shit on horse armor? And it was like, what? It's just, it doesn't do anything in the game. It's just on the horse. Like, what's the point of that? Yeah. And now like, that's what microtransactions are. It's like, hey, give us a couple bucks. We'll give you a green hat instead of a red hat. Like, isn't that fun? Like, it's silly. So silly.
All cosmetic, completely cosmetic purposes.
But if it's a company, like I could see them coming out with like power armor paint schemes or something. It's like, give us $5. Here's 20 different paints. Like, well, if I'm enjoying this game, I kind of want to give you money because thank you. So let's do that.
Other people are going to see it. That's the other thing too, is like, I never understood like the color shading of the single player game.
Yeah.
Like, who cares?
Yeah. Or like your character, your character looks ridiculous because you're min-maxing stats, right? But if you're playing with other people, you want to look cool. So like that makes sense to like tweak those things and give you more. Like I could very easily.
Go ahead.
I could very easily say like if you go the crafting route in Fallout 76, it'd be like level 1, make a shirt, cool. Level 2, you've got 5 different colors of shirt, awesome. Level 3, here's 73,000 different combinations for these shirts. Like go ahead and make them if you want and try and sell them. Like
have fun.
Yeah, why not? Find the cool ones. Find like, are we going to see roving, like, gangs of people dressed in the same, like, colors and stuff? Like, how awesome is that going to be? I would
love it. I would absolutely love that. No, what I was going to say, though, is that's the whole draw of Monster Hunter.
Oh,
I don't know if you ever played a Monster Hunter game or not.
Yeah.
I mean, you have weapons that have different stats and armor and all of that. But it's like, I'm going to go after this monster because this is the armor that I want to wear.
Uh-huh.
And then when you go online and people see, they're like, oh, holy crap, what is that armor? Who did you have to, what was the monster you had to go and hunt, 8,000 times to make the breastplate,
I could see them doing that with 76, really saying like, hey, for the next week, if you nuke this spot, there's a 70% chance that super fancy thing is going to spawn with rare loot. And then after a week, it's going to go away, but it might come back, but we don't know. Or its spawn rate's going to decrease. Like,
or holiday stuff.
Holiday stuff. Sure.
Like
all that stuff.
Like Halloween stuff. And I would love to go and roam around in a Fallout world and have it be Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, if you really think about it.
Have you been to Diamond City? At Christmas when it's Christmas time in the game?
No.
Oh, do it. They put up Christmas lights and trees.
Oh, they do.
But it's December 25th in game. Like you have to go there on that day and it's all decorated. Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. So, I mean, but I think it's little touches like that make me feel that the developer is still thinking about the game.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of sometimes a turnoff of a game is when you log in and it's like, okay, this was how it was 2 years ago. It's like they haven't done anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's one of the reasons why I think WoW is still relevant the way it is. You know, not necessarily just because of the expansion packs, but I mean, you walk in there and there's festivals and there's and you know at different times, and even Final Fantasy 14. If you go walk in there, you know during Christmas time, there's lights all over the place and what looks like Christmas decorations. They really don't call it Christmas.
Oh yeah, they call it the lore thing, whatever it is in lore. In the old Star Wars galaxies, there was Wookiee Life Day, and that was like Christmas time. Yeah.
So I think that doing those little things always kind of make me want to draw myself to play the game. Like GTA 5. GTA 5 during Christmas, it snows.
Oh
so
really? I didn't know
Wonderland.
that.
Yeah, and you can have snowball fights. You can kill people with snowballs. So,
that's awesome.
So yeah, so I mean, so it's a lot of fun with that. So I think the perk system, I like that they went through that, and it's not going to be something that people are going to have to try to figure out. They're going to have to figure it out, but they explained it. I think the other thing too is that I don't think people are going to be able to cheese it. You know what I'm saying?
There might be like optimal builds and stuff, but it's only if you get these certain cards and it's random. So keep playing and you might get that card. But yeah, and what's cool too is in a game like Fallout, in a single player game, you can go through it, you can hop in and be like, I'm going to be this type of character. And so you build your character that way. And then when you're done with that, you say, okay, I'm going to start over and I'm going to be a different character now. But when you're dealing with an online game with your friends and stuff, you want to be able to switch your character around and change them around more often. And these perk cards are perfect for that. Because eventually everyone's going to be at 15s, right? That will happen probably within a week or two because people are crazy. But like eventually all your special stats are going to get up to 15. You're going to be able to use any perk card you want. And at that point, it's just your choice on how you want to play the game that day. I think the other thing they said is that your gender and your facial features, you change them whenever you want. You just go into the menu and you can just look however you want to look, which I think is cool.
Supposedly they say you can be mutated too.
Yeah, there's mutations. You get too many rads and you get a mutation. And mutations, they were kind of cagey on it, but mutations, it sounded like the majority of them are stat changes where you'd get buffed in one stat and debuffed in another stat. Not just stats, but like in a way like, better defenses, like your AC count goes higher, but your total health goes lower, like, you know, something like that. So you're correct. You can, but some of them, and they were like, they did not reveal very much about this at all, but some of them would give you physical changes to your character. And as well as the stat changes, buffs and debuffs. So it'll be interesting to see, like, after people have played, it's like, hey man, here's what you do. You go out, you get irradiated, you try for this mutation. And if you get this certain mutation, then you take these 5 perk cards. And if you take those 5 perk cards, and if you get this weapon, then man, you are going to be awesome at that one weapon. You know, like there's going to be these little tweaks and combos that people are going to come up with. And that'll be a lot of fun to see what happens.
Yeah. Dude, what happened to you? I don't know. Yeah, you look like Connie Chung, you know? So I don't know. I mean, it's just stupid. But I mean, it's fun stuff like that. And this, it's made me once again, it's hyping me up again for Fallout 76.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's really kind of what's going on. Gamescom still is going on. It goes on all week, I believe, from the recording that we're doing today. So I think if there's any other big announcements that are happening, we'll probably cover in our next episode.
Yeah.
But I think that's going to do it for us tonight. What do you think?
I'm good. We've been going for about an hour and a half now, and I really got to pee. So, like, yeah, I'm good.
It's all good. It's all good. This is Dan and Steve signing off from the Save Point Podcast. Like I said, you're downloading it. You're talking to us now. Join our Discord. That's the best place to get a hold of us. Tell us if you like the show. Tell us if you don't like the show. What you want us to change about it. We're always open for suggestions to get better. I mean, we want to create a show and a podcast that you guys want to listen to. So just let us know about that. But join our Discord, and we'll see you next time we talk.
Bye.